Americans as a total hold $7 trillion in bank accounts, most of those earning less than 1%, while we have a constant inflation rate above 3%. I mean, that math doesn't make sense. We're falling for these traps in numerous ways.
This podcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute financial, legal, or investment advice. Please consult a professional advisor before making decisions based on what you hear on this show.
Have you ever heard that people don't rise to the level of their goals, they fall to the level of their systems? Well, that is so true in finance as well. People don't fail financially because of lack of income. They fail because of a lack of a system. We're going to be breaking down the passive income operating system today that helps you get out of the rat race and on to financial freedom. I am Russ Morgan. I'm going to be one of your hosts. I'm joined by the dream team of financial coaches. To my right, I got the Italian stallion, Mr. Joey Murray. Stallion, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Russ. Excited to talk about this system today, for sure.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about why it's not enough just to make more money and why people need a system.
I don't know if you recall this story, but I remember being in my late 20s and working really hard, actually making more income than I would have anticipated at that age, and then waking up to this one fact. I wasn't free because of my income. The active income I was producing was 100% solely reliant on me. And I learned that when I was on vacation with my wife and my daughters, and I was telling them, go down to the beach and I'll be right there. And 4 hours later, I'm still on the phone. I'm still taking calls. And they are walking up that boardwalk and they're looking at me like so disappointed. Like, Dad is here, but he's mentally miles away. And I recognized I was the only asset at work. And that's why I felt this constant pressure to produce, to constantly produce. And I didn't know it at the time, but there's a system to get you from that active income into passive income. And we had to build it because it didn't exist anywhere else.
How many summers do you have left with your kids? 10, maybe less?
And are you spending them together, or are you still stuck in the office while time slips by?
You want freedom. That's not the problem. The problem is you don't have a system that buys back your time. Without it, 3 years from now, your kids will be older and they won't care that your business was more successful. They'll remember you weren't there.
That's why we built the passive income operating system, the plan we use to create over $50,000 a month in passive income. The system isn't free, but the training that shows you how it works is, and it's under an hour.
Go to wealthwithoutwallstreet.com/PIOS. Take the first step to buying back your time now. All right, well, let me get around the table here. We got downtown Ernie Brown joining us. Welcome back, Ern.
Hey, good to be back. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Ern, you've been coaching people for years now, probably the most experienced coach on our team. What happens when people rely on just random financial tactics instead of an organized system?
Well, I think any random approach, but specific random financial tactics lead to random results. I mean, that's the only thing that can happen. I think that financial efficiency comes from following a process. We all live in the great state of Alabama on this call right now. There's a well-known man who terrorized the Southeast on Saturday afternoons and evenings. His name was Nick Saban. He was huge on the process. Just follow the process. He was so successful because of his process. His wins didn't happen because he followed random tactics. Not at all. And it's the same thing in our financial lives. So if we can pull together a clear strategy, understanding what the clear outcomes are, and we can follow the process, we can get much better than random results.
That's so good. All right, we got the doctor back on the episode with us, Mr. Eric Hudson. Good to have you on, Eric.
Thank you, Russ. Great to be here.
Eric, prior to even coming on and helping us coach people with financial freedom, you've been doing this for a long, long time, helping not only families, successful families, and others learn better ways to manage money, creating systems. How does having a system, in your opinion, change how they think about financial freedom?
Yeah, great question, Russ. Let's look at the opposite side of that. Is there a way that we can illustrate how not having a system creates chaos? So we have so many examples of lottery winners, Russ, people who have literally hit the lottery thinking that was going to be the thing that created financial freedom for them. But what do the numbers tell us? CNBC tells us that 70% of those people end up back where they were, or Russ, even worse, with ruined relationships, and they're poor again. What is the reason? What were they missing? The piece they were missing was they didn't have a system before they had finances, before they had money, before they won the lottery, and they didn't have a system afterwards. So that money was easy come, easy go. If we're going to be successful, we've got to have a system in place, because money without a system just magnifies your bad habits. Our passive income operating system is going to give you that structure that could turn a financial gift, whether that's a one-time gift or a lottery, or the gift of your income, into a legacy.
No, that's so good. There are steps to becoming financially free. And what we say is you can't skip steps. You have to build a process, a system that gives you security, gives you predictability and executing on this. So in this system, we say there's 3 steps. There's unlocking access to dollars, getting those dollars trapped, usually what we see, and we'll talk about that. We talk about leveraging these dollars, getting more out of those dollars. And then thirdly, being able to build upon it, to scale that cash flow, to create streams of incomes that ultimately exceed our monthly expenses. So Ernie, I want to talk about this first step, because there are large money traps that people get their money stuck in the rat race. Would you mind breaking down a couple of those for our audience?
Sure, there are many, and the average American falls into several. The first would be what is actually the largest block of securities in the world. And I think here language matters. That's the 401k. Huge money trap for those seeking freedom. Security sounds good. Like, who wouldn't want to put their money in securities? Second, who wouldn't want to put it into a qualified retirement plan? They're qualified, for heaven's sake. Like, it's security and qualified. That's got to be the best place for my money. That's a money trap. It's hard to get the money out. It's very few ways to qualify when you're underage to get that back. Second would be a debt payoff obsession, constantly chasing zero, the out of debt moment that you might even yell about. When you take your resources that come to your household and immediately turn them over to somebody else, you are improving their life, not yours. That's another money trap for people. The third would be whether for the sake of security or lack of imagination, keeping money in checking accounts and piling up cash, having no immediate job for it, no system for it to flow through, leads to implosion moments. I mean, I see this all the time. People get a little bit of money, they start dreaming about what they could do with it, and it's typically not wealth creating moments. It's the motorcycle, it's the boat, something to fill up the driveway or the garage, or another way to expand that self-storage place we got down the street. And just a statistic on that, and this is crazy to me, in America, Americans as a total hold $7 trillion in bank accounts. Most of those earning less than 1%, while we have a constant inflation rate above 3%. I mean, that math doesn't make sense. We're falling for these traps in numerous ways.
Very good. Joey, how does having a passive income operating system help people see where their money is hiding in plain sight?
But it really comes down to, most people are operating their finances like out of a junk drawer. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything in their life, income wise, goes into one account, and everything comes out of that same account, meaning all of their monthly expenses, their debt payments, they're trying to invest out of it, they're trying to save out of it. This is just a cluster, right? Everything's mixed up. And when do you actually get clarity, like use your junk drawer as an analogy, is when you take everything out and you separate it and you put it in the place where it goes. You could do the same thing with your money, and actually by separating your money into separate accounts, like an income account, an expense account, and then an investing hub. Now, all of a sudden, you can really gain clarity and see where your money is going, what it's doing, and you can actually put a little bit of a governor on your spending as a result, which will only give you more money to invest. That's the very first step in our passive income operating system. And by the way, we've been referencing this. If you haven't already taken advantage of our free training on this, go to wealth.wallstreet.com/PIOS and watch the training and learn what we're talking about. But this is the alternative to continuing in that junk drawer mentality.
Hey, Eric, what's the difference for those we talk about whenever we get our access to our cash, right? We get money out of these traps. We have clarity into where it's going, like Joey just mentioned. Now that cash flow can move out of the rat race and into financial freedom, but we've got to start doing something with it. And one of the things we talk about inside of our passive income operating system is where we store that capital prior to making an investing decision or paying off a debt decision. And we use whole life insurance. And for some people, that's a very foreign concept. I remember when you, for the very first time, walking in as a pessimist to this because you had a client who was considering this and you were their basically family office, and your job was to analyze every decision they were making and to make sure it was the right one. And you were trying to determine why would they want to use cash value versus cash. What is it that you learn, and why does that matter?
Yeah, because Russ, I had been told over and over that cash was king. And what I've learned is that cash is more like the court jester and cash value is king. You know, I was watching a football this weekend, and there was a player playing Russ that in the same game, he threw a pass. He was a receiver. He was an offensive player. He threw a pass, and the pass was caught. Did a great job with that. He ran the ball from behind the line as a running back. He caught a touchdown, and they said on the broadcast that the coaches have said if we would give him a week, he could play defense if we'd train him for a week. Here's what they said. He's the most valuable player and the best player on our team. Why? It's because he had utility. He had the ability to do lots of different things, and it made him extremely valuable. Cash can do one thing. It's a one-use product. And it gets tackles behind from inflation at times. It's just not a very efficient tool. Cash value has so many other options. It's so much utility. It's liquid. Cash value is. It's protected. It compounds uninterrupted. Creditor protected in most states. Cash value keeps earning even while you're using it. It's, you know, you hear of house hacking. It's literally like living in your house while you're renting it out. You're getting to do both things at the same time.
How much passive income do you have right now? And if in 5 years you're still at the same point, what's that going to cost you? Maybe more time at a job you hate, or missing moments with your family?
See, most people don't move because they don't know what to do. So they just keep doing the exact same thing.
That's why we built the Passive Income Lab. It's a 12-week program where you are guaranteed your first $500 a month in passive income.
But here's the catch. It's not open to everyone. We only let in 10 people at a time.
So the real question is, will you be one of them? Apply now at choosepassiveincome.com. There was nothing worse than walking into class when you're in school and the teacher saying, "Pop quiz day." Why? Because you were unprepared. Are you unprepared, though, for financial freedom?
Don't be. Find out how close you are by taking our 30-second quiz at wealthwithoutwallstreet.com/quiz.
If you store the capital now on this insurance contract that Eric just described, they're going to be forced with the framework to make a decision of buying an asset and creating a passive income or paying off a debt and reducing the monthly expense. How do they decide which one to do first?
Well, I think the beauty of this is having clarity around a process, and then to do what you just asked, Russ, you need clarity around a goal. So for every one of us on this call, and for almost everyone that we have helped, and the people listening to the podcast, for the most part, their goal is passive income greater than monthly expenses. That is financial freedom. So if we have clarity around that goal and we stick that out in front of us as the primary target, we can make money decisions with our money system that get us only closer to accomplishing that goal. And so what I mean is when we have dollars accumulated in cash value, we need to make decisions that get us closer to that goal. So how do we make that decision? It's fairly simple. If we have dollars and we have a passive income opportunity and we have a debt that we'd consider paying off, we can look at the result of either of those activities. So if creating the passive income activity creates X in income, but paying off the debt creates X plus 1 of free cash flow, we would choose to pay off the debt. But if that was switched, we would choose to make the investment because that would have a more significant impact on our progress to solving the financial freedom equation. And if we set that in front of us, that money goal, and if we implement this money process, we can consistently be making progress towards financial freedom.
That's good. Eric, once somebody has cash value and that's been built up, something that they can now use, they can leverage it to buy assets without stopping its growth. How do they do that? Because for people who've never used a life insurance policy, that would definitely be a foreign idea. Like they've borrowed money from a bank, but how do you borrow money from an insurance company, or what's the real benefit of doing it?
Let's talk about compound interest first. Ben Franklin said compounding interest is the 8th wonder of the world. Imagine that. Even back in those days, he understood about the growth of that. So I want you to imagine with me, think about these little bags of popcorn that we go by and we put them in the microwave. We drop those seeds in the microwave, and in the right environment, that without adding any more to it, that bag begins to expand to the point where it about overflows. And now what was once a small seed is now has helped us reach our goal and expanded by just putting in the right environment. We put our dollars into infinite banking because they are in the right environment and they expand. And while they're in there expanding, we still have access to them to take loans or leverage against those dollars and go buy income producing assets. When those compound at a rate of about 4.5% to 5% annual compound, tax-free, by the way, you have access, a dollar will double every 15 years, double, while it's inside the system. That's not talking about taking into account what it does while you have it outside the system buying income producing assets. That growth to pay cash, missing that growth if you pay cash, could be a 6-figure mistake.
No, and we do that. We talk about that inside of our training. If you want to go watch this training, we actually give you multiple case studies, multiple live examples that you can see of this in practice. This isn't theory. This is something that the four of us have all used at a very high level. We've been buying assets and producing passive income. That's why Joey and I, every single month, we share our personal passive income report where we build over $50,000 a month as a result of doing this very thing I'm illustrating on the screen, where we go to an insurance company. We do like Eric says, we borrow against it, we leverage it. Our cash value continues to compound internally inside the insurance contract. It's not the investment. It's just the safe haven. It's the comparison to cash. So for everyone who wants to compare it to your checking account. When you see this over time, you notice how this starts to build up and grow. And every single year, I get closer and closer to the goals I want. And then I use those dollars to buy assets that produce the passive income. And it is significant over time what we can see happen here. Joey, once we've leveraged the system, how do we decide what investments, though, are we going to make, and how do we scale them as a result of that?
Well, I'm glad you're asking the question. I want to point out something that most people maybe have not thought about. Most people have read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but very few people who have read the book are actually financially free. It's because there's really two components that they're missing. Number one, they don't have a system, which we're talking about today, right? If you don't have a system that supports it, it's not going to happen on its own. It's not a default to financial freedom. You have to actually do things differently. But the second thing is you actually have to become an investor. Many people think that they're investors because they have invested money before in some way, shape, or form, or they are a business owner and they've put money into a business that they own and operate. Totally different skill sets, totally different outcomes. And so in order to become an investor, you actually have to be trained, and you have an opportunity. If you already got your system, you don't know what to do with it, you don't know how to become an investor, go to choosepassiveincome.com and apply for our passive income lab. Like this is the 12-week course that you're missing that will actually give you what I'm about to tell you, that the key components and what to invest in start with who you are as an investor. So you have to know your investor DNA. You have to know what your investor buy box is. What are the components of the deals you're looking for that will support your end goal of financial freedom? Is it tax efficient? Does it cash flow within 6 months? Does it have accumulation or appreciation? Does it have the ability to pass on generationally? Like, there's a lot of components that need to go into your decision-making buy box. And if you can do that, now you have confidence to start investing in the proper cash flow investments. That's what I would say is missing.
All right, I want to kind of transition. I've seen people are hearing this, and I want to talk about what could they do now. So, what's the danger of someone waiting until, quote unquote, someday to set this system up?
Waiting, I think it comes down to what you're missing in experience. I think the benefit of experience, which is repetition, gives you more confidence. And when you have more confidence, you're willing to take the next step. You're willing to go faster even. So by waiting to do this, which is a good and right thing to do, as it goes with anything that's good and right, the longer you wait, the more that you are giving up. Actually, the way that Nelson Nash described that in his book, Becoming Your Own Banker, is in terms of by waiting every day, you are penalizing yourself more. It's the way that he said it. Flip that to the positive and say you're giving up gaining experience. So play that out down the road, 3 years, 10 years, 20 years. Money compounds, so does experience. And what you get in between years 20 and 25 is a tremendous amount of growth, not only on your cash value, but what you have done with your cash value. How does waiting 3 years impact what this means for how your kids are thinking about this, or how quickly you're able to get this established on your grandchildren? Just one example. So I would focus on the compounding of experience. And in light of that, why would you delay anything if this was a good and right thing to do?
No doubt. Eric, I know that you're having conversations daily with people, and one of the conversations that typically comes up is what people share about what they would regret if they were in the same spot 3 years from now. What's maybe a comment that you've heard recently of someone kind of expressing the remorse of what would happen if they continue to stay in the same spot?
Russ, I talked to a mom today, and I asked her this very question, and she started crying. She said, I am out of alignment with what I know I'm supposed to be doing. Something's got to give. I'm outsourcing the raising of my kids, and I can't do that for another 3 years. That doesn't mean that's everybody's goal, but Russ, it was deeply this lady's goal. And we know that 90% of American workers report stress in their finances. And when I asked her if we're able to help you get passive income to exceed the expenses that you have in your life, or get passive income just to meet what you're currently making at your job, who would notice that first? She said, my husband first, then my kids. And it would have an amazing impact on her family. It is going to have an amazing impact on her family, because she is committed and in process to make that change.
Yeah. Most people think they need better investments. They don't. They need a better system. Robert Kiyosaki said there's no good or bad investments. There's only good or bad investors. And what you guys have all said today, which is we need to understand who we are as an investor. We need to level up as investors. We need to become an investor as fast as possible and refine our skill set as investors. And we need a system to help us flow all of this through, so that way we actively turn this income that's coming in the door from our jobs, from our businesses, into passive income on a repeatable autopilot way. So that way we don't get to the end of the line and hope we're going to have enough money. Instead, we've got money that's working for us 24 hours a day, and we have money at work instead of us having to be at work. We get to work because we want to, not because we have to. I will say this again, that there are steps to becoming financially free, and you can't skip steps. Part of the steps to becoming financially free is building a system. If you haven't gone through this process, you want to go to wealthwhilewallstreet.com/quiz. You can understand where you are in relationship to where you want to be. And if you decide to, you can get on a call. One of our coaches can strategize with you, help you understand what is the right next thing for you. Like, where are you stuck at? Where are you at in relationship to where you want to be? Help you avoid the regret of being in the same position 3 years from now. If you feel stuck, if you feel behind, how do you unlock that? How do you become an opportunity magnet where deals are coming to you? It's when you get access to cash. This system can help you do it. Thank you, coaches, for being a part of this. Thank you for listening. If you found value, take time to rate, review the show. We love to see those comments. Share this with someone else so that they too can unlock a system that can help them become financially free faster. Have an amazing day.
This has been the Wealth Without Wall Street podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the show to break free of the Wall Street mindset and begin building wealth on your own terms in places you understand so that your wealth will never run dry. See you next episode.